You're listening to the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show with your host, Coach Tim Campsall, where we talk with successful business owners to hear the stories of their journeys in building their successful businesses. And more importantly, we recognize the folks who help them excel because we know that achieving business success is not something we can do on our own.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Indiana with us today. Something unique about my guest is that he was named a Forbes Next 1000, and he's a serial board member. We'll get him to tell us a little bit more about that. In his downtime, he enjoys DJing and collecting vinyl and bourbon and playing video games. And he's most proud of the team that he's built and the accomplishments that I already referenced in terms of the Next 1000. It's my pleasure to welcome Jack to the show today. Hello, Jack.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely. Well, hey, let's start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us your, obviously your first and last name, but more importantly, a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live and about your family and hobbies.
Sure. Hey, I'm Jack Shepler. I run a web agency here in Indianapolis called Ayokay. I actually grew up in Ohio and moved here to Indianapolis. It was a divorce situation. I moved from where I grew up to here in Indianapolis and really loved it. I really fell in love with kind of the small big city vibe that we have here in Indy. Went to Ball State for video production. Obsessed with web design all through high school, all through college. And so after college, I kind of, actually during college and in high school, I got super involved in the music scene. I used to be a photographer at big music festivals and concerts, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, Coachella, all the big concerts. And met someone here in Indianapolis, Jeb Banner, who was starting a web shop at the time. I became his first W-2 employee right out of college, and 5 years later, with his encouragement, started my own agency, Ayokay. So that's a little bit of background for you.
Fantastic. And hobbies, what do you like to do in your downtime?
Sure. So I feel if you look at all the things I'm involved in, it looks like I don't have downtime. But to me, that is kind of I love being involved. I'm involved with Indie Pride Festival as their entertainment director. I am on the board of the Damien Center. I help with their annual event Grand Masquerade as well. I DJ. I've been DJing since I was 21, so for about 20 years now, I've been DJing at clubs and whatnot. I have a monthly residency at Greg's Hour Place here in Indy. Playing house music. It's just something I love. Just, my music background never went away. Just the web design and marketing part I grew, and the other part, stuck around. But when I do have actual downtime, I play video games. It's my escape. Yeah. Most nights I go home and I play, Elder Scrolls Online, or I'll play Fortnite with my friends and my nieces and nephews and that sort of thing. So that's kind of my downtime is definitely video games. Also, I love playing golf. I love swim, going to the pool, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, yeah. Jack, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share with us today?
So that's a funny one. It was hard to think of a story I could share.
Those are the best ones.
One that my mom loves to share is, when I was young, I was pretty studious, I would say. I got good grades, maybe not the best, but she reminded me of I guess that I liked to, how do I put this? She likes to tell the story of how I once found something factually incorrect in my elementary school book, right, in my class book. And I took it to the teacher, and the teacher didn't really, was like, okay. And then I took it to the principal. I guess I really wanted to make sure that this textbook was corrected, which I thought was funny. And I think that might be why growing up, they told me that I would be a lawyer when I get older. But, I don't know. I don't even remember this, but she loves to tell that story.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Hey, Jack, how'd the business come about? And tell us a little bit of the backstory there. And at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
Sure. So actually, it all kind of started in high school. I moved to Indianapolis right after freshman year of college and dove right into, my first school year here in Indy. I joined the video production class.
Hmm.
And that first semester, I remember there were like 8 of us in the class, right? It was a 2-hour class. And during fall break, right at the beginning of the year, they installed TVs in every room, and they kind of professionalized it, right? They bought all these new modern digital cameras and all that kind of stuff. We created the kind of the morning announcements show. I remember I was actually the one that picked the name for it. We called it WCTV for Warren Central Television. And after that first semester, just everyone wanted to be in it. But I designed a website for them, right? Like I had already, when I was young, I designed websites for my mom's or my parents' newspaper. I designed my own music website. I just became obsessed with web design growing up. So
Yeah.
even through video production and spending half of my senior year in high school in the video production room and going to Ball State and all of that, web design kind of was, was what I was really passionate about.
Yeah.
Can you remind me the question again? I got a little.
Yeah, that's fine. So how'd the business come about then?
Right. So
How'd you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
right. So I made these websites for fun, right? I didn't get paid for any of those sites. I just said, although I did make a little money from my own music website, right? And that was really kind of what got me into the photography. I was this high schooler applying for photo passes with Warped Tour and getting them. Back then it wasn't, the whole blogging thing was new.
Mm.
So anyway, fast forward, I go to college for video production. I end up adding, web programming on because I knew that was what I really wanted to do. I started, I was the web developer for Newslink, Indiana at Ball State for 2.5 years. I worked on some other local things, like I did the road site for the local Rotary Club, that sort of thing. I just kind of freelanced and I did it way too cheap. Let me tell you, way too cheap. But I got really good experience. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Jeb Banner was starting a web design company, and he and I crossed paths because of the music stuff I was doing, the music stuff he was doing. In fact, we both were taking part in Midwest Music Summit here in Indianapolis, which was organized by Josh Baker back then. And so he reached out and he was like, "Hey, I saw you graduating. I'm starting a web company. You want to come work for me?" So I first I freelanced for him for a few months, and then eventually, became the first W-2 employee. Right, there were a couple of owners before me, but and then after 5 or so years, the company had grown at that point to 15, 17 people, something like that. And they were kind of moving in a direction not towards what I was doing there.
Mm-hmm.
And he encouraged me to start my own business. So I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So tell us more about the company. Tell us the name again. What do you guys do? How do you help people?
Sure. So my company is Ayokay. There's really 3 main things that we do, like big buckets. It started as web design and development. That's my background. When I was at Smallbox, I was a web developer. I designed some sites. I've done a lot of other design work over the years, like concert posters and that sort of thing. So that's the OG, right? And then marketing came eventually. I was previously marketing chair for a few organizations, and became really good at social media and that sort of thing. And so, marketing, including social media, content writing, SEO, advertising. We've been doing a lot of, I'll get into the kind of the niche stuff in a minute. The third thing is custom apps. So custom app development. We have a few interesting niches. In particular, we work with public health organizations. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of like health campaigns. So you'll see campaigns around the state of Indiana, for example, for hepatitis C, for I'm not sure if you've seen the Connect to Cure stuff around the state, billboards and whatnot. That was us. We also worked on the Mpox campaign, monkeypox. There's some other health campaigns we've worked on. And actually, I'm writing a book right now about public health marketing. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then we also work with a lot of kind of bigger corporations on custom apps. So we've built a lot of payment portals, and we've built custom CRMs, custom intranets, like from the ground up.
Oh, wow.
Fully custom applications. And that also has some news. We're launching a new brand for that. It's called App Ventures. Still part of Ayokay, still part of our process that we have here at Ayokay. But you know, we kind of found that especially in larger corporations, marketing and custom apps are two different departments, right? It's the marketing team and the IT team. So we kind of separated that for brand reasons.
Makes sense. Yeah. Hey, Jack, share a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, even though maybe you didn't think that you could, and the impact that that had on you.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Yeah, a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it, even though maybe, you know, you didn't think that you could, and the impact that that person had on you.
Sure. So I would say probably Jeb Banner. I mentioned him before. He was my first boss out of college, and you know, he saw the entrepreneurial spirit in me, right? I mean, at that time, I was promoting events at nightclubs and whatnot, booking DJs, super involved with Indie Pride. You know, my involvement with Indie Pride predates me starting my company. So yeah, he was he definitely encouraged me, and was he's a great coach. He's a great leader.
Fantastic. And what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
My biggest learning?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Sorry. Oh yeah. I mean, I have a few. Where do I start? First, I would say, you know, going are you familiar with the book, The E-Myth?
Yes.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure a lot of people listening are. So that book really kind of changed my mindset a lot. And that's really what, honestly, got me to look into having a mentor or a coach, right? I realized, like, okay, I fully understand what's going on and why I'm not growing, right? It's the whole like entrepreneur, manager, what's the third one? The person doing the work. But anyway, that really kind of pushed me to rethink things. And honestly, the biggest thing was learning to let go, right? I can't be, you know, I know how to, I've custom coded plenty of apps. I've designed plenty of websites. In order to grow an agency, though, I can't be doing those things, right? So I kind of had to go through the mindset shift of building a team, delegating, trusting, like trust but verify is something that we say a lot here. Just kind of building up those processes and letting go. Letting go is a big part of that.
Yeah, it's huge. And you know, going from an employee mindset, right, to a business owner or entrepreneur mindset, it's a significant, you know, change and evolution. And you know, for those of us who have created a business, right, and it becomes our baby, it's hard to let go and trust that somebody else is going to take care of it as well as us. But as you mentioned, you know, the E-Myth, it talks about the fact that, you know, business owners become their own bottleneck to be able to grow and scale the business. So typically what happens is, you know, a successful business owner will see this significant growth, and then the business plateaus because it's reached the capacity of the business owner, and there's no more, there's nothing else it can do until people let go, right? Delegate, bring on other folks, and get out of the day-to-day and become a true manager, and then ultimately a true business owner or entrepreneur, and have a team that can do the day-to-day.
Right. And I feel like there's like levels that you reach too, where like we went through rapid growth and then a pause, and it's like, wait, what am I? How?
Yep.
And at that pause, you have that realization, like, wait, I'm the bottleneck, and then
Yep.
you figure that out, and then you grow, and then you pause, and
Yes.
that's just what it feels like.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, that's we actually teach that and there's two things that happen. So you grow and then it plateaus out. There's a pause. Two things are going on typically. One is that the owners become the bottleneck, but the other is that the mindset needs to catch up to the new level of growth, right? So we can get caught in our own head of, wow, right? The company's at this level, but I'm still thinking of myself and my capabilities down here, right? And I need to elevate my own mindset and my thought processes to become, the next version of myself so that I can scale the business to the next level and the next level and so on and so forth. Yeah.
For
Jack,
sure.
we know that business success, doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us what's been one of your biggest challenges as a business owner, and maybe somebody who came alongside you and helped you to get through that.
Sure. So I would say, certainly, what I was just talking about was a big challenge, right? Delegation. I mean, uh, I would say that the someone that I would mention is Brent Weaver. So he runs a program called You Gurus. It's a coaching program specifically for agencies.
Hmm.
But he's my mentor, and he has been for about 5 years. And right out of the gate, you do like a 10-week program or something, and just so much learning, and just like, wow, there's just so many changes I need to make, so many mindset shifts I need to make to actually grow this company. And at that time, it was just me and a freelancer,
Yeah.
right? So, and now we're at 10 plus, 10 full-time plus like 15 or 20 contractors. So, um, yeah, Brent Weaver, big time. Processes, systems, hiring a great team. Those are all the sorts of kind of mindset shifts that I've taken over the years.
Yeah. Congratulations on investing in yourself. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sort of put you on the spot here and ask you to pick three people in your journey that you're most grateful for them being there to help with your business's growth. So who are those three people and how'd they help you?
Well, I'm going to say five. So I'll say Jeb Banner and Brent Reeve, who I've already talked about.
Sure.
Jason Grizel and Jeremy Turner. They're both, I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time. They both have like amazing hearts of gold. They're very dedicated to what they do. And, we work with them, right? Through public health and that sort of thing. And just their dedication to the cause is just unbelievable. And they've had just a great impact on everyone in Indiana. And I just want to mention that because they probably don't hear that enough.
Sure. Yeah.
And then fifth, of course, I'll mention my husband. It's not easy being the partner of someone who is running a business, going to conferences constantly, always, taking that weekend call, and it's not easy. So
Yes.
certainly my husband. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what's his name?
Benjamin Oakes.
Awesome. Yes. It's so true that, being a business owner, especially in the early years, can take a lot out of us, right? In terms of time and energy, and it's so, positive to have that support at home and have somebody who's, understands and supports it and encourages us and motivates us, and right. And in some cases, right, it's there for, at least in my case, right, to have a shoulder to cry on when I was frustrated or discouraged. And it's a big deal. And I don't think everybody, necessarily understands, the roller coaster ride that business owners can go on, and having that support at home is key.
Right. Absolutely.
So congrats. I'm glad that you have that, that rock to be able to rely on. That's awesome. Hey, Jack, as you think about the next 1 to 3 years, what's either your number one priority or the number one challenge that that you're going to need to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
So I would say that there's a couple a couple things. I'm really learning how to focus better. When it comes to agencies in particular, it could be very easy to market to everyone.
Mm.
And so we've been really honing in on our core strengths, right? We're very good at public health marketing. We're very good at e-commerce and e-commerce marketing. That's actually how we started. Like,
Okay.
That's what I was doing at my last agency, was e-commerce, web development, and that sort of thing. And then of course I mentioned custom apps. So I've really been focusing on honing those things. That's why I'm working on a book about public health marketing. We've got so much experience in it now. I have a lot of things to say about it. I've got a history in the world of fake news. Not that I wasn't creating fake news, but I was reporting on it. I grew up around a newspaper. I ran a website called Real or Satire for many years. And so this book is kind of the culmination of that, like what I've learned through public health marketing in a world of fake news.
Yeah.
And then the app ventures thing I mentioned earlier. So really just kind of honing in on the things that we do really well and focusing on those.
Fantastic. Last question, Jack. We've probably all heard of Jim Rohn. He's a awesome business guru. One of his famous quotes is, "We become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with." So as you think about that quote, what advice would you have for other business owners who are trying to do it on their own?
Well, a couple things. One, I highly recommend getting a mentor or a coach. I'm sure that you like hearing that. It says action coach. But I highly recommend it. It really changed my outlook and everything. The other thing is find a community, right? For me, I have a few communities, right? I'm very involved in the LGBT community here, but also I recommend communities like Entrepreneurs Organization, EO. It's really great to be able to connect with other business owners and talk to each other about what's going on in your world, including topics that are difficult to talk about, maybe difficult to talk about at the office, difficult to talk about with friends because they can't relate on those kinds of topics.
Right.
So definitely community and mentor are the 2 things that I would say.
Yeah. It can be very lonely at the top. Right? There's the one thing that comes to mind for me and a lot of owners I've talked to reference it is, hey, I might not be able to make payroll this week, and I certainly can't tell my employees that, right? And I'm juggling with this stress and this burden, and being able to be around other.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.